Hey, YouTubers and friends, how are you all doing tonight? Absolutely fabulous, I hope. Tonight we have a good friend of Flashing Your Pans with us, Diggin with Deej. Had the pleasure of meeting her and Dawn at Flash Bash 2021. Um, it's going to be a great show. Stick around. We'll be right back. Hey, YouTubers and friends, thanks for joining us for another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live with ToledoJess, Gano, the Treasure Vixens, and I.
I thought maybe they could hear me or something.
Thanks for the super chat.
But you gotta watch out because
they can.
Now they can hear us.
Now they can hear us. Yeah.
And I did that super chat thingy again. Man, not clicking the right
There
buttons.
we all are.
wait, you know what? I better go to YouTube, huh?
Maybe.
All right,
Remember to
folks.
like it, Jesse.
Yeah, give it that thumbs up.
Glad to see everybody here. We've already had our Jersey History Hunters raid. Everybody's
Yeah.
already jumped in.
Cool. We were over there being Ed for a little bit.
Oh, new name, Zeus the Pit Bull. Welcome.
Professional wildlife photographers
Come on, turn it
and
off.
B&H customers for 30 years.
Turn it off.
What was that?
Thank you, Nancy. A friend of ours, Gana, an artist here on YouTube, created the little cartoonies for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wearing one of Jesse's hoodies. Can you see it?
No.
Oh, let's see.
Well, we-
Those hoodies are so comfortable.
Yeah, I like it, Jesse.
They come out all right. You like those?
Oh, yeah.
Indiana
were-
Tunes.
They were perfect at Flash Bash in the evening, Jess. Like they were perfect for keeping us warm.
Yeah, I'm also wearing a Toledo Jesse apparel
T-shirt.
shirt. Yeah, I like it, Jesse. Feels good, looks good.
Check this one out. This one I just did.
Oh,
The same one.
Deej, did you get your shirt yet?
Did you get your shirt, Teach?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Nope, not yet.
I got
What?
mine.
You should have got. I've shipped all three of them out. Jason's, yours, and
Well, I live out in the boonies, so it goes through extra big cities before it gets to me. So it'll be here this week.
And you know how the U.S. Postal Service has been.
Goes
Oh,
100
yeah.
miles past her to come back to her house.
hell, our mail goes to Detroit first. But check this one out. This is the same thing, Ed, that I did with that shirt, the one that you're wearing.
Right.
That's- You're not supposed to be able to do this on dark colors, but ain't that cool?
But you
Yeah,
get
it
it anyways.
Yeah, it is.
That's cool. That's
Well, my mail goes through Detroit and then Allen Park, and Allen Park is a nightmare. The
Okay.
sorting center in Allen Park is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, you're up in Michigan.
I had an overnight package from Mansfield, Ohio. Takes 7 days to get to Delphus, Ohio.
That doesn't surprise me.
Wow.
Come on, post office. I can drive there in an hour and a half. I'll come pick it up.
Yeah.
I just ordered a bucket of gemstone pay dirt from Thermal City, and
Yeah.
when they took my payment, she's like, I just want to tell you that I've been getting calls frequently to saying the package is taking 7 to 10 days. She just pre-warned me about it. She's like, just so you know, it's gonna take a while, and it sure has. It's been over 7 days.
Where's it at?
Anticipation grows. And let's say
Yeah,
hi
it
to
makes,
everybody.
it makes me so grumpy.
We have all kinds of great people in our house tonight.
Yeah.
And of course, our friend Willie from Kansas was numero uno.
What's up, Willie?
He told me that he wasn't the first, is what he told me when I said, you're number one. He's like, nope, I wasn't first. He said, I was early, but not first.
Well,
Yeah.
the first one I saw, like 11 hours ago or something. Willie's a great guy. I had a pleasure of meeting him at Flash Bash, along with our guest and Dawn from Detection Connection, I believe.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah, I
didn't
do.
correct me, so I'm right.
Mhm. Yep.
Flashing all my new stickers. I got so many new ones.
Yeah, I got a ton of new ones.
Yeah, it was a blast. Flash Flash lived up to its name.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure we're all glad to hear that.
Absolutely.
It was, you know what was really crazy about that? It rained Thursday and it rained Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, Monday it was raining when we pulled out.
River
But we had-
came up.
We had good weather the rest of the days.
Yeah.
Oh,
And Sunday they called for rain all day long. They showed cells that were getting ready to pass over all day long, and it never hit you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. That's why we weren't able to magnet fish with Rose and Angela.
yeah.
We did. We
So-
packed up early. We tried to beat the rain, and we really, really, really beat it. Except on the way home, we got hit multiple times with some torrential rain on the way home.
Yep. Yep. I had that because Don and I went to the Serpent Mound to see that on the way back to his house. Got back to his place about 6:30 and then I left from his house the next day and I drove through torrential rains all the way home,
Yeah.
on Monday. So
We drove up to Toledo from down there, and it was rain after rain after rain after rain. Same drove down Thursday.
I pretty much drove out of it when I went home.
I have a gift for you, Deej.
oh yeah.
You could share it with Dawn.
Okay.
But compliments of Watts, Worldwide Association Treasure Seekers. I'll be sending you a gold panning is easy by Roy Lee Lagel.
Oh cool.
Aww.
And someone tonight, one hint towards the end of the show, we'll be giving away a book or maybe two.
Oh wow.
So, but
Thank you.
you got the first one, Deej.
Great. Thank you.
I have to say, Dawn should have shared that dredge with you. You would have had a little bit more flash in your pan.
That's okay. That's okay. Next year I'll try it. Next
Yeah,
year when I
so
don't have a messed up foot. So
there you go. I hope you enjoyed sluicing. Found it.
oh I did. It was fun and relaxing.
Yes,
You know?
sluicing is relaxing.
Yeah.
Quiet,
Yes.
not the run of the motor.
I loved it. I
Well,
loved it.
she had Dawn in the dredge not far upstream from her, so she had the constant white noise of a Honda engine pumping water going. "Ooh."
Yeah. It wasn't too bad. I was still far enough off that it wasn't too bad. So
But it gets really nice when there's no engines out there. You're just running a stream sluice.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going the outdoors.
Well, I had plenty of that when they ran out of gas, so
Right.
that made up for it.
Yeah, I kind of went, here's what you do, and here you go.
Yep.
I'll be back in an hour or so. And
Yeah.
squirrel.
Ed was like everywhere. He was like constantly somewhere. I don't think he ever sat down.
That's it. Squirrel.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
It's always somewhere.
Yeah. I feel bad that I didn't even know Jim was there, though. I feel bad. I don't
video
even
call.
remember seeing him at the dinner.
Yeah.
So-
Him and his wife were there.
Yeah, but I didn't realize they were there. I would have said hi.
Well,
So I know I didn't meet everybody, but I tried to meet as many as I could. Because
Well, it was a
kind of
shock.
when we got there were certain things that were planned, but then around those times you could do whatever you wanted. So
it's not like your typical outing. It's
Right.
more of a meet.
It's more of a
greet.
gathering than an event.
Right.
Right.
Gathering. It's what it is. What it is just a bunch of people hanging out and having a good time.
Like-minded people enjoying the weekend.
Yeah.
Have some food for people, and the rest of the time you do whatever it is you wanted to do. You had opportunities to magnet fish. You had opportunities to melee tech, prospect for gold. It was all there. You could do it all.
Don and I did do
listen
some
to
metal
stories.
detecting in the creek.
The part that I like, I can sit back and just watch everybody do everything.
Right. Yeah.
But it's fun. It was a good time. There was a lot of people. I was very happy.
I think it was a good turnout. I had a blast, and I know Don did too.
Well, that's all. That's all we want is for everybody to come out and have a good time.
Yeah.
Meet people that they haven't met before, but you almost feel like you know them because you've chatted with them so often. So it's great to put that face with the name.
Right.
Well, I really liked it. Like we had the Carls.
Yes.
And we had the Nabbities come, and
again
they're from a whole different finger. They're from like the Adventures with Purpose and Chaos.
Right.
Chaos
I met
Divers.
him. I think I met him Saturday night. He asked me if I had a blow up thing to blow up their mattresses. I think that was him. And I said, yeah, just bring it back to me tonight. I'll wait for you to bring it back before I.
Yeah, they brought it over to my generator to pump it up.
Yep. Yep.
But it was great meeting them and the girls, Ellsworth's daughters. Jeez.
Yep.
They were really cool kids. I hope they all had a good time.
Right.
We're already thinking about next year.
Oh yeah, everybody is, I think.
But
Yeah.
JP, Benzo, Deej, I'm sorry, but I think
one time a year is enough. I know.
No.
It's like, no, I want more.
Yeah. I think Mrs. JP and JP Lons and more and I worked out getting able to meet up in July, which I'm pretty stoked about. They're coming to Indiana, so I'm gonna go meet them there.
Oh,
that's cool.
Well, if they're in a raid, we try and make it to Indiana as much as we can.
It's a good meeting point for everybody. Well, for most of us, Deej, I know you're a little bit farther out, so
Indiana isn't bad.
Yeah, it's not too shabby. Yep.
I mean, I'm only an hour from the border of Ohio, so maybe an hour and 20 minutes from the border of Ohio.
Yep.
It depends on which way I go, but I would take 23 down if I was going to Indiana. So
straight shot.
Yep. But now my videos, I have 2 videos for Flash Bash. So the first one will be this Friday, and then the second one will be the following Friday after that.
Oh, good. Somebody got videos. I don't think anybody. I didn't think anybody.
Well, I did. I'm not showing everybody, like I didn't do the giveaways or the dinner or anything like that. I did learning to gold pan on one and us working together in the creek.
Thomas Folks did a good video. If you haven't watched Thomas,
yeah, he did. I watched it. It was a good one.
Has he put it out already? I haven't seen it.
Yes, it's very good.
It's
He
already
did a
out.
good job.
All right, cool. Yeah, he does. Anyways, let's check it out.
That was great.
See you guys later. How come I wonder why they get notifications?
Jonathan, friend, maybe next year we'll be a little bit closer to you. I think that's one of the coolest things about Flash Bash is that they choose different locations every year.
Well, I'd love to have it in the mother lode of California.
Right.
But
Oh my God, Jeremy's in the
logistic-wise,
chat.
logistic-wise, that'd be a total nightmare.
Especially if we had to be the host too.
Yeah.
If we weren't the host and someone put that, hey, we want to do a flash bash out here.
Like, let's say maybe a friend like who's in the room, Jonathan Friend, or our friend Smith's Gold. Baseball season must be over, Jeff. He's in the room, or even some of our southern friends. You know.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind going down there, but it's really hard to host an event that far down.
Yeah, getting the property and
You know,
I tried working with clubs and some businesses down in the Carolinas and Georgia, and it's pretty hard. So
So Nugget asked at Flash in Your Pan, did you see the golf I found? And I was confused for a second, but then he followed up with, it was a set of 18, 15 dentures, which I did see those.
I saw a picture of those
Crazy.
on Facebook.
Wow.
I can't believe that they were still in the condition that they were in, man. And they were creepy to look at. They were so creepy to look at.
Real
Yuck.
molars and stuff.
Yeah.
You know? It's
Wow.
like Candace said, or was it Candace, Jeremy, said the Richmond, they belong to a Richmond. I think I saw it on Kat's.
Yeah, Facebook page.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, Amethyst, Angel, Mary, Mr. Lodak, the world's greatest moderator. Kay's digging it.
And the magnetic squatch, hey, I got a notification in my mailbox that your shirts arrived, and we have a small P.O. box. So it was just a letter saying you've got a bigger package, and they were closed at the time. And then I told Angela about it, and when she went back, that little yellow slip was gone, so she thought that I had gotten it. And I was like, no, I didn't get it. I'm sure that they pulled that slip out of there on accident. So I have to go back up there when they're open, which will be Thursday, and go bug them for that package. But I know it's there. We just haven't been able to put our greasy little fingers on it.
Dudes are here.
Yeah. Reminds me, I need to talk to Audra about Dude Stock 2022.
Yeah.
They gave us the pleasure of coming to the Flash Camp at Gold Rush Days. So
Hopefully they'll come back this year.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, you know, it's everybody's welcomed at the Flash Camp.
Mr. Lodak got another wrench. Hard Rock University. Good job, Jared. You're the man.
Oh,
Yeah, and I guess we all have to talk about, is it everybody seeing the weather coming up for Friday? Is it going to be a spot for you guys?
It's supposed to be raining, I think. Chance of rain Friday.
We're going to get 100 degrees and sunny.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
This
Jonathan
week-
Friend just said 113 in 2 days.
Leave it
Yeah.
there. Leave it there.
Wow.
Right.
Good thing
Yeah.
You're gonna be high in the Sierras when you're out there in July, Dano.
Yeah, it'll be cool where I'm at up there.
There you go. If you're in the water, well, who cares?
Jonathan Friend says it's supposed to be 113 in 2 days out in Cali right now.
Wow. Yeah, they were saying triple digits. So supposed to be breaking a bunch of records all over.
If it gets too hot, I'll be
Western.
jumping in Yuba and floating around.
Yeah.
Right, Jeremy, in the river. You're not gonna be worried about it. Cat Toy Lady, hi Candace.
Congratulations to adding your little babies, officially adding your babies to the fam. Congratulations on your adoptions.
Definitely, definitely. So, Deej.
Yeah.
What got you into treasure hunting and metal detecting and all that? Were you a
Um,
collector beforehand of anything? Or
well,
tell us your story.
Tell us your story. We're up front.
I
Ed.
was more into digging in the dirt. For my birthdays, I'm the oldest of 3 kids, and I would always ask for a metal detector. And back in the 70s, metal detectors were for boys.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, you tomboy, huh?
So,
tomgirl?
I got into dump digging first. When I was a teenager, I would go on my grandparents' farm, which was actually my great-great-grandparents' farm. It handed down generation after generation. And I would dig in the dump. And
Wow.
I would find
That was
That's so much fun.
Oh, yes.
these are my prized possessions from my family. These are clay pipes that I
Oh
dug.
wow.
So that's how I got into loving antiques and stuff like that.
Nice.
I found this in the dump when I was 17.
Oh, nice.
I still have to get
lamp.
a lantern top for it, but it was in 3 pieces. Well, maybe 5 pieces, including this. And the base was all rusty and stuff. And for my birthday one year, my dad had it re-dipped in brass to restore it. And that the rest of it we cleaned ourselves. It's not perfect, it's kind of speckled from the oxidation, but hey, it came from my family from England.
Cool.
And but that's how I got into it. Any of my friends that found out that I liked digging in dumps thought it was weird. So people thought that was kind of weird that I dug in dumps, old dumps.
I used to go with my dad and my godfather. My godfather actually tricked me into looking for treasure.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Oh, you got to look in the couches. There's always money in the couches." He reaches into a couch and pulls out $1. I
Wow.
found out later that he had it in his hand the whole time, but
Right.
it was enough to make me go, "Oh," and then find pennies and nickels and stuff, and that was enough, man. I started treasure hunting the same way.
I used to help my dad. He worked for Pontiac Motors, but then he also had his own business cleaning restaurants. And we had this Italian restaurant that he had the contract for, and I would go in and help sometimes to earn extra money. And I would do all the vacuuming of the carpets. Well, unbeknownst to me, he would be the first, he'd unlock the door and walk in and take a whole handful of change and just throw it.
Oh.
And I would find so much coinage. But then I found the strangest surface find. I come up to my dad and I said, I found this pill on the floor. It was like a capsule. And he looked at it and he goes, it looks like there's something in it. And he swore to God till his dying day that he did not do that.
Oh.
He opened it up and somebody had folded up super, super tiny a $20 bill.
Wow.
Yeah. So but I was, as a kid, my parents encouraged us kids to be outside. They would do like treasure hunts, scavenger hunts, things like that for us to do to keep us busy as kids.
No, my parents were just going, "Get outside, get out of my hair."
And that. So I didn't get into metal detecting until, trying to think, 2010, I think 2010. And I was dating a guy, and we had a date planned one Saturday. And early in the week he says, can we change when we go out to dinner, because I forgot I'm supposed to meet my buddies. And I said, well, what's up? He goes, oh, we're going metal detecting. And I'm going, Really? I've always wanted to try that. He goes, well, I got an extra machine. You want to go? I said, well, yeah. And loved it. And then shortly after that, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And still went out detecting with him in that. And after I got done with my treatments, 6 months afterwards, he dropped dead of a heart attack. So, and I always used his machines. I never had my own machine. So some time went by and my boys are saying, Mom, what can we get you for your birthday or for Mother's Day or whatever? You need to stay more active, because I was battling fatigue syndrome from going through the treatments. And I still battle from time to time. I have it pops back up to haunt me, but not as bad as it was. And I said, I want a metal detector, and they wouldn't take me seriously,
Aww.
Then finally, one Christmas, they took me seriously. The first year I started taking stuff out, and they're going, oh my God, Mom, you're finding good stuff. You need to be on YouTube. You know, and I'd only ever watched YouTube. When I first started watching YouTube, Gypsy is who I followed first. Zero Discrimination. And Aquachigger, of course. Those were my first two that I followed the most. And then my son said, I said, how do I do this YouTube thing? Because they kept pushing me. You need to do YouTube, Mom. You're finding good stuff. Taught me how to do YouTube, and here we are. Never in my wildest dreams would I think that I would ever get close to 4,000 subscribers. I'm like 180 some away, something like that.
Yay.
Yeah.
If you haven't subscribed to Deej's channel, get over there.
Right. Link in the channel, and I'm willing to bet somebody's going to throw it up right into the chat room here soon.
There's one in the description too.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that's how I got started in it.
Thanks, Jaron. I forgot to hit the like.
Doggone it, Jesse. You're always
and I am primarily a relic hunter, but I do find coins too.
And guns.
I love the relics.
I was going to ask you, what do you hunt for the most? You know, relics or coins? Or...
Relics.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific time frame that you really aim for?
1800s all the way, but when I go to Connecticut, I'm aiming for 1700s or earlier. So, but I love finding buttons. It's my most favorite thing to find.
What kind of areas do you hunt?
I hunt parks. I hunt home properties. I hunt farm fields. I will be doing some creek hunting this summer with Don on the Mohican River. Cool. And that. So I'm game to try any kind of metal detecting. So
it's, you know, the first time I saw any metal detecting at a like a kids park was one of your videos, and I was like, why didn't I ever think about that? Like, why didn't that ever cross my mind? So and we still haven't made it out. Metal detecting is something we only get to do really when the opportunity presents itself. But I guarantee you our next video, we're going to be at a kids park checking that out.
Oh yeah, for sure. The tot lots, for sure.
Tot lots.
Well, there's so many people that get into detecting, and if they're in big cities and they're new to detecting, they're not ready to go door knock. Some people aren't comfortable door knock.
Yeah.
So they look for public property that it is allowed, and you got to check your city ordinances.
Mm-hmm.
And schools and tot lots are good spots if it's allowed there. So
when you say, like, are there signs that you could run into that say like no, like how would you know it's not allowed? Would they post it?
State parks here in Michigan, they post it, and then the parks that they do allow metal detecting in Michigan, the state parks, they have PDF maps, and wherever you're allowed to detect, it's highlighted in red.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And I'm sure other states have their own ways of doing it, but yeah. check with your own state's DNR department and you'll be able to find out in those kind of parks. County parks, you'd have to go to the county websites to find out. City parks, the same thing. Some of the villages, you check with the ordinances online. If you don't find your answer there, it's best to go in person and ask. And instead of saying, you know, are we allowed to dig holes? You say, if they ask you, well, how do you do it? You say, well, I cut a plug. It doesn't sound so invasive.
Yeah, your language would have a lot to do with
Your
it.
language has a lot to do with it. Now, there's several villages, because I'm out in the boonies, but there's several villages around me that they allow, I could do curb strips even if I wanted to.
Oh.
Any township property, any township parks, they allow it. But I don't bring a big shovel. Okay, I use either the small, less shovel that's like that wide, or my hand digger, one or the other. I use a towel to put the dirt on, and as you can see from my park videos, you can't even tell where I've been.
Oh
So,
yeah, you do a
practice
fantastic
leave no
job.
trace.
Yeah.
And that reflects on our hobbyists the best. When you leave no trace. I mean, I've had maintenance guys in the parks. I get done and they start talking to me before I leave, and they look around and they say, we can't even tell where you've been. And it's like, that's the way it should be. Leave no trace. So, and if there's garbage by you when you're digging, pick it up.
Pack it out.
So
You know,
easy.
and in tot lots, I dig it all. I don't care if it's an iron signal or what it is. It ought not
Well,
to be
you're a
in the
relic
tot lot.
hunter, so it makes sense you dig it all.
Well,
Right.
she was also on that video. You pulled out a piece of metal that somebody could have easily impaled themselves on.
Oh yeah,
easily.
for sure. I mean, a kid could have ended up in the hospital with that one in the emergency room.
Yep.
That was nuts.
And that's probably pretty good because I found the same thing when I took my granddaughter a while back at their local cot lot. Did find a couple of Hot Wheels, but we also found nails, wire, things that didn't belong. You're going, how the hell did this get there?
Right.
Well, what happens is, if you know, not all companies that sell the mulch use the best magnets available to pull that stuff out, the strongest.
Isn't
You know,
always
they may just lay it flat and then go over it with the push kind that the roofers use to make sure they got all the nails out of your driveway and that. So, and if it was something that was embedded in the wood before it was chipped, there could still be a piece. And if that wood breaks down, then you got wire in there. So, you know, there's no guarantee just because they say that it's been cleaned of all metal that it is. I mean, something can always get missed. So,
yeah, like here in Ohio, the state parks, you're prohibited from taking anything out of the parks, but you can check on the beaches. So if the park has a beach, you can belly check there.
Yeah.
Right. Now in Michigan, in our state parks, you are allowed to do beaches before Memorial Weekend and after Labor Day weekend, not during the swimming season. So before and after.
That's fine. Let it all gather up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
And I love hitting the volleyball.
Oh,
the sand-filled volleyball.
Yeah, for
those
sure.
are fun too. You find a lot of good stuff in those too.
Oh, there's some around here, Ruby, that close.
And then I have a restaurant bar nearby that I've offered to go through and pull everything metal out of that every year before they start their volleyball season, you know, and I found some cool stuff, and then I give it to them to hang on to, you know. Did you have, you know, they give me a list of stuff that might have been lost there, and if I find it, I give it to them. If I find other things, they let me know if anybody lost it or not. If not, I get to keep it. So
cool.
Somebody asked about ground balance.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Mark Miller said, "At Diggin with Deej, explain ground balancing to the people who don't know."
Okay. Everybody's soil has a different amount of mineralization. Okay. So your more entry-level machines will have an automatic ground balance that will be like a happy medium. But if you live in a state with highly mineralized soil, like Virginia, over by Culpeper, Virginia, you've got to have a machine that you can manually ground balance. Now, I'm in Michigan in the Rust Belt. My soil ground balances anywhere from 60 to 70, 75, somewhere in there. Sometimes 80. It just depends. You can go from one site to another and it'll change. And ground balancing is when you manually have the machine tell you how much mineralization is in your soil, and it will compensate for that.
Wow.
Otherwise, your machine would be going crazy all the time, you know? So, and when I'm, for instance, when I do the home site of tragedy, it's a great big farm field. One side of the field will ground balance different than the other side of the field. One side of the field has deeper, richer soil. The other side has more clay type soil. So you should ground balance often so that your machine is running at peak performance.
Well, when you say often, would you say, you know, would you give it a time frame every 30 minutes?
If I'm out there, I ground balance at least once an hour, if not twice an hour.
Okay.
And like for me on the T2, I've got a trigger underneath the handle that you just push back and you just bounce it on the ground lightly and it automatically ground balances again. So, but unfortunately, there are some entry-level machines that you can't ground balance. They are already preset for you, which it's like a happy medium, but they find metal. They find metal.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, we've got a cheapo depot and it gets the job done.
Yep. Well, I just tested the Technetics Delta 4000, which has been around for many years. It's an entry-level machine. It goes almost as deep as the T2, which is my go-to machine. I love that machine. And it's also a Technetics, but it's pre-ground balance, but it is a coin shooting machine. Let me tell you, that thing will pick up those coins. So, because typically a lot of guys really like to coin shoot. That's what they're looking for, is the coins. And I won't pass over a coin signal. Absolutely not. So I'm just out in the boonies and we got poor farmers from the 1800s out there. I have found a barber silver half dollar that I did find silver in the home site of tragedy. And I think Treasure Troll found a war nickel. I found a silver Roosevelt dime, which is more modern. So, I mean, if I get a coin signal, I'm going to dig it. So,
I think that especially when you're new, you might as well just dig all the signals. I do think you start to get a little more comfortable with strong signals for sure, but why not dig them all? Why not find out?
Right.
You know,
that's how you learn what your machine is trying to tell you.
Right.
That's how you learn.
That's
Another thing that I do.
Gypsy's all about digging everything up.
You know, once you know what your site is like, how much trash is in it. For instance, my home site of tragedy, I have never pulled a bottle cap out there. Not a pry off, not a screw top.
wow.
I have never pulled a beer tab. You know, those pull ring things. Never pulled one of those out there. But when I get one of those signals, because I know it's not a trashy site, you dig those signals. I mean, I dug one pull tab signal and it was a little brooch, a little pendant.
Yeah.
You know, so just because your machine says it's one thing doesn't mean it's not going to end up something else. It's making the best guess for you what it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
What-
it doesn't matter if you have a high-end detector or an entry-level machine. I have a friend that has a Garrett Ace 250 that detects circles around me. I am not kidding you. He finds so much good stuff. But it's like me with the T2. It's like an extension of me. I know it that well. Once you learn your machine, and it takes a good year to learn a machine well. Years, sometimes 2 years. It took me a year and a half to learn the T2 real well. So, and I'm still learning new things. Don't be afraid to try different settings. Make up your own custom settings if
Yep.
you can. You know, what's the worst thing? You might dig some junk. Whoopee. Everybody digs junk. I don't care.
The junk can be high.
Aquachigger digs junk, for God's sake. You know, we all dig junk. So be prepared to dig some junk.
It's almost a rite of passage, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So
You gotta get the junk out of the way so you can find the treasure.
that's right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and one man's trash is another man's treasure.
This is
You
true.
still-
right.
Still find history. You still get excited about the history behind it. You even, you find yourself, realizing that this beer can was old enough to need a church key to open it. And, it all comes with the territory.
Yep, for sure.
So I know that you are mainly a metal detecting channel. I think really you're definitely moving closer and closer towards just all around treasure hunting. But recently you've tried out magnet fishing, which is the treasure vixen's forte.
Right.
I was hoping you could share some experiences because you've done it a few times now. Yes, or was it just the meetup?
I have done it for several years because I did that. I had a magnets before I had a detector, but I just I didn't realize it was a thing on YouTube. Okay. And I have a Boy Scout camp that I've done a lot of magnet fishing at. I've only put up one video because I did find a couple of cool things, but it's got like a volcanic lake or something in there. It's nothing but volcanic magnetic rocks.
Mm-hmm.
But I did pull up some cool stuff.
Yep.
So that was at a Boy Scout camp that anybody can go there and detect. And I even thought about having somebody do a metal detecting event there or something, but because they were interested in having that, but nobody's decided to do it. So,
At least not yet.
but in my area, I just, I have fishing docks and I have boat ramps, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
In my area over the last, I think since the 70s, many of the nonprofit groups have every spring done creek and river cleanup out in the country here. So I'll go to a bridge and I look down and it's beautiful sand. There's so I'm kind of confined to where I can do that. And that I can magnet fish in any of the state parks around me. They said, oh yeah, get that stuff out of there,
Yeah.
But I have to make sure I choose a time where there's not a lot of people fishing.
Right. Which is difficult to do, especially when you're on the lake. It's, the same time that you're magnet fishing is typically prime real estate for fishermen. And we always say if they get there first, it's theirs. But if we get there first, tough titty for them. So.
Right. So,
They should learn to be nice to magnet fishermen too. You drop something.
So I was excited when I went out to Detroit to magnet fish with you guys because I knew I would find things there I don't find here.
For sure.
And I did. So
a gun. Yeah, don't be you found a gun, which is a bucket list item for a lot of magnet
That was her day's wish list.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it was my wish that day. My boyfriend asked me before Josh and I left, he goes, what exactly do you want to find there? And I said, a gun. And Josh said, a gun. He goes, You're
That's
not gonna find a gun. And then what happens?
Lo and behold.
Lo and behold, I'm begging for a catfish belt. I still have not got a catfish belt. I'm saying, for God's sake, all I want is a catfish belt, and I pull up my magnet, and there's the gun. It's like, that was pretty exciting.
Were you able to turn it into the police? Did you make a report on it?
Yeah, we did a report on it. When I saw it, I yelled for Jason and Scuba Sonia, get over here. And that, because I knew they would know what to do, because it was my very first gun. I had no clue. I just knew we somehow needed to contact the police.
Oh.
I haven't heard anything back from them. If they were able to, it had only been in the drink maybe a year.
Mm-hmm.
What everybody was saying, oh my gosh, that's a fresh drop.
Yeah.
There was no muck on it.
Yep.
But it did look like somebody had tried to scratch off the serial number.
Mm-hmm. The criminal had half of a brain.
Right.
If it's scratched, you won't get that back.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
The other kind of treasure hunting I like to do is dump digging, bottle digging.
For sure.
And I've done quite a few videos on that. I've got several dump permissions. And then I like to do cellar hole archaeology, because the majority of my permissions are in the track of an 1800s tornado and the destruction it left behind. So either the house was rebuilt, number one, or the house was destroyed and never rebuilt, and all it is a farm field, or there's still a cellar hole, which I have one of those permissions in that. So I have strange things happen to me. I dig up weird things. So.
Well, speaking of weird things and strange things, well, I know you do a little paranormal stuff too, don't you?
Well, I don't seek it out per se, but
it finds you.
It kind of finds me.
It's always good not to get out.
So what's the freakiest, weirdest experience, paranormal type thing happened to you while doing your lifestyle?
Okay. My cellar hole permission I've had almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in August, I think. And on 3 different occasions, I have had, the first 2 times, it was a woman's voice really far off asking me, what are you looking for?
Mm.
And I turned around, just figured somebody walked up to the cellar hole, and, because there is a way to walk from land owned by the state and walk onto this property. I mean, if they follow a deer trail, they may not realize that they're on private property. So I stand up and I look around and I don't see anybody. I climb out of the cellar hole, walk around, there's nobody there. This happened to me twice with a woman's voice.
Same place?
But it sounded like they were real far off. And then last fall, I had discovered somebody had been digging in my cellar hole without permission. So a friend of mine and I put up trail cameras. Well, I shut off the trail cameras this one day, and I just went in there and started digging, trying to find more artifacts. I had just gotten done putting the crock together, restoring an antique ironstone crock, and had presented it to the owner and verified that I still had permission, and then started digging. Went to the cellar hole and started digging. And this time I'm digging away, and I'm filming as I'm digging because I got a signal with my pinpointer. So I knew there was metal in there somewhere. And I had a man's voice ask me what did he say? Why are you digging? This deep voice. And it was like right in my ear. And I just froze. Waited to see if they said anything else. Slowly stood up, and I'm looking around. I don't see anybody. I walk around the cellar hole, nothing. I climb out of the cellar hole, nothing. So I just talked to whoever was there talking to me and explained to them, I mean no harm. I am here trying to find artifacts to tell your story of your lives, before the tornado hit. And I'm trying to find what was left after the tornado came through to give to the museum in town to commemorate your lives. I just talked as if I was talking to my friend that was there or something.
Right.
And they didn't respond back in that. And so we put the trail cameras up. We were trying to catch who was cheating and going in there and digging. And I went back in like December and pulled the SIM cards from the machines and put new SIM cards in, came home. And I'm looking on my computer, and one of the clips was really weird. I couldn't figure out what it was. Showed it to a few people, and they're going, that is an apparition trying to form. And I'm going, oh, I don't know. So then I showed it to the owner, and we tried to recreate it with his truck headlights, with my car headlights, coming from one direction, because this is in the middle of a 100-acre parcel that is surrounded on two sides by roads. Okay. But it's hundreds of feet away, and it's on the top of the hill. It's at the highest point. We couldn't recreate it. So we don't know what it was. So I did a video. I think I put it out in January, just asking people to take a look. What did they think it was? Because we weren't able to recreate it. We didn't know. And that video went viral. I think it's over 200,000 views now, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did anybody say aliens?
Yeah, there was a little bit of everything. Sasquatch, aliens, there's some movie. I forget what they called it. Where they shapeshift and stuff. I don't know. I don't watch blood and guts movies. But
Me neither. Yep, I don't either. Deej.
I don't need any nightmares. I have enough on my own.
That's what I say. That's exactly
Yeah.
what I say.
Yeah.
I say I don't watch them.
need
They
any
give me
help.
nightmares. Yeah.
So,
Hey.
but I went out there this week because it was super hot, and it's always cooler in the cellar hole.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a jewelry box.
Is that out yet?
Nothing in it, but I found dirt. But I found it's got little cherubs on the sides of it. So, I didn't find that this week. I found that a couple months ago. So, went back out, set up, put new SIM cards in, put the information on the other ones on my computer. I've been going through that, trying to edit that and get a corresponding video up. And I'm using that jewelry box as a trigger object right by where those weird lights that showed up in my one video were at. So who knows if we'll catch anything or not. But my next video, I walk in from the owner's house and I show people so they can get an idea of how far it is off the road and stuff. I mean, it's not right next to any roads. It's in the middle of the property. So I walk there, show them, and I discover some new relics under the leaves on my way walking up the hill to the cellar hole and that. And I show them where the barn used to be and all that. Really quick 5 minutes, and then a quick intro. And then I'm going to add whatever I capture. I may only get wildlife again. For some reason, that place is a wildlife superhighway, and we don't know why. Because all the food sources are on the edges of the property. I don't have to worry about berry bushes or nothing inside the property, only on the outside edges. That's why I like to go in by the owner's house, because I don't have to deal with briars.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't have to walk as far.
So Drum Detect said, let me find it here. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have copied and pasted. Oh, quit finding creepy stuff, Deej. And then he
I
followed up
know.
with, your jar was the worst.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
What did
And I had weird experiences after that. That got returned. So I was digging in my old time farmer's dump, and I dug up a mason jar full of newspaper clippings. It was, I was digging, and the only place that was soft enough, because this was like in February, I think, of 2020. I think it was 2020. I even took my fossil hunting rock hammer, because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get through, but it was like a balmy 40. And I thought, well, I'll chisel my way into soft earth. Well, I ended up digging under these tree roots, was the only place that wasn't frozen. And I found this jar full of old newspaper clippings. Took it home, opened it up on my deck, and it was all gruesome death.
Ooh.
You know, I was like, what the heck?
In a localized
And
area?
I did not take it in my house.
Yeah.
Did not take it in my house. I put it in my shed that's not even attached to my house. And then a few weeks later, COVID hit. And a week after that, I ended up with a nosebleed that no doctor could control and end up in the hospital. So as soon as I was better and it warmed up, that jar went back to the dump and got reburied, and I said a prayer over it, and I videoed all of it.
Wow.
So, and I haven't been back to that dump yet. Not this year.
You think it's something you may try to revisit, or are you just going to stay away from it?
I think I'll still go back to the dump, but I'm not going to dig anywhere near that where that was. This is a pretty good sized dump. It's probably 30 feet square. So, but it's all of the 85% of my permissions are in the path of that tornado. So who knows why stuff was buried? But the articles went back to the early 1900s.
And were they localized?
1906 or 1908.
You know, were they all from the same area? Like somebody could have been
all over the United States.
Oh, ooh, that is creepy.
Yeah, everybody thought it was a serial killer's mementos and stuff like that. It was weird. Some of the articles they thought came from the same newspaper. Somebody did some research. I think one of them was a old Kentucky newspaper. And then I think they said they saw some of the other ones in New England. I forget where. So, but I even researched the people in these, and they had no connection to anybody in Michigan.
Okay.
So I don't know what it was.
Well, Michigan would have been a great retirement spot for a serial killer. Let me tell you what.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So we've talked about the spooky, but what about, have you had any wild animal experiences being outdoors so much? Any snakes or bears or?
Snakes at my Victorian Creekside dump. Just gardener snakes though. But good size ones.
Yeah.
At my cellar hole permission, I think it was my first year, I kept hearing something. I couldn't figure out what it was. And it was up above me in the trees, and I look up, and it's a mama possum with her babies hanging on for dear life, watching me dig in the cellar hole. I did a couple summers ago. I camped out at the Victorian dump. Tanner and I did, and we heard coyotes out there, but they never came near the tent.
Yeah.
So,
do you have any fears of animals? Are you scared of any? None of that? You're not worried about it?
No, I'm not worried about it. I have property up in the UP. I know how to take care of myself in the woods, you know, with bears and moose. I used to work on the moose survey, the Michigan Moose Survey,
Yep.
for 9 years. So I've done lots of stuff outdoorsy when I was younger. I have snowshoed 12 miles to my cabin from the main road. Had to cross icy creeks just before I got back to my car, and then quick jump in my car and change my clothes. Turn on the heat.
Yeah.
So no, there's not much I'm afraid of.
So what are you? Would you share something you are afraid of?
Heights.
What did you say?
Heights.
Heights. Oh, that's a good one.
I'm not
Yeah.
good around heights.
Yeah.
Although Don did get me on a tower on the way home from Flash Pass, but I was hanging on like my life depended on it. And he's going, I'm right underneath you. If you fall, I will catch you. And it's like, he knows I'm scared of heights, but I had to do it, and I did it.
You got to conquer those fears. You gotta get through them.
Well, I had that fear because when my boy's dad and I were building our first house, the builder wanted us to come out and go over some things, and we got up on the second floor, which was not done. And I'm talking, and I backed off the second floor, fell flat on my back.
Oh, wow.
And I've been scared ever since. So, I mean, I didn't expect it.
Yeah. No, that's a terrifying feeling.
Fell flat on my back. That's another reason why I had back troubles. But
yeah.
Thank God it was in a sand pile, or I would have done a lot more damage.
Mm-hmm.
Knocked the wind right out of me for a long time. It took me before I could finally breathe again.
Yep.
So
Heavy Meadow detective said, my money's on Deej versus a bear, cougar, etc., etc.
Well, you know, the Michigan DNR claimed that there are no cougars in Michigan. I can tell you for a fact, yes, there are.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen any down in the lower, but my son and I went up one weekend to the property up by Paradise. We pull in the driveway, pull up to the cabin, and I go to turn the car off and get out of the car, and he goes, stop. He said, look at the wood pile by the flying squirrel feeder. And all I could see was this bushy tail going like this.
Mm-hmm.
It was long. I never saw the body, but I saw the bushy tail.
That's enough.
So I'm sorry. Yes, there are. But they don't want to broadcast it.
That's right.
Then the hunters will want to kill them. There's not very many, but.
That's exactly right. Is that people will go searching for them to kill them.
Yep.
Oh, it makes me so mad. And you know what? The only hunters I want going after those, any type of cats are photographers. They can do all the hunting they want.
Yep. I agree. I did a lot of wildlife photography when I was younger.
So out of the treasure hunting that you've been able to do lately, do you still have something on your bucket list that you haven't been able to try yet, or do you feel like you're really knocking this out?
Well, now I've tried gold panning.
Yeah.
So I would like to try gem hunting.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
In the Carolinas. I would love to try gem hunting in that. Supposedly there's a beach when you go across from the UP to Canada in Sault Ste. Marie and you go east. Somewhere along there is a beach that you can find amethyst clusters and crystals. And then I've been told North and South Carolina have.
The Carolinas, Georgia.
Yep.
Just that general vicinity,
Right.
Oh, hey,
Arkansas,
if you ever decide to head that way, let me
Alabama.
know, and vice versa. I'll let you know if I head out that way too.
Oh yeah, I would really like to try Herkimer diamonds.
Any of it.
Any of that stuff. I love fossil hunting. I love rock hounding.
The Carolinas, but then there's the Arizona, Nevada. There's the Southwest area also has plenty of areas to hunt.
The only state I've been to west of Arkansas is California, LA, when I landed at LAX on my way to Mexico
Oh,
once.
God.
So I would love to see all the out west someday, you
Yeah.
know.
That's a shame. I mean, because when you fly, you miss so much.
Right.
Driving is, and like
Yeah.
Dano likes to do, he likes driving state highways and stuff. Go
Mhm.
through the little towns that are
Oh, I love going through
disappearing.
the little towns best,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, I spent 3 years hitchhiking across the country, all over.
It takes
I
a
really
little more time, but it's enjoyable. You know, you go through
Yeah.
Old Town, you see where the old courthouse would have been, more stately houses.
Yeah.
It's a nice ride.
Beautiful old homes.
Yes, yes. We're losing that.
I love driving through. When we go over to the Norris, what's the town? That's that town there. I can't think of the name of it now. The little town just before you get to the Norris.
I don't know.
What is it? Gambier, little college town.
Is that Gambier?
Yeah.
Gambier, yeah.
Old houses in it. All the old Victorian homes.
Yep. Yep.
I love those. I love the metal detecting actually.
Yep. Another type of treasure hunting I would like to do is a button dump. That's on my bucket list of things to try.
So that
No,
exists? There's a
Yeah, they're okay.
specific
Back
button dump?
around Civil War times, many of the mills did a changeover, and they turned into what they called shoddy mills, and they made what they called shoddy, which is an inexpensive fabric. They recycled threads and fibers to make a new fabric from old clothes. So there, every town would have a rag man that went by, and that's, you give them your old clothes and rags. Well, when they got to the shoddy farm, they would have people that all they did was cut buttons and buckles and fasteners off this fabric, and another person would tear the fabric apart, and they would spin it into new fabric. Okay. Well, they would go and dump in the back 40 of the shoddy mill somewhere in the woods everything they cut off, these uniforms and stuff. There's military uniforms, police uniforms, you name it.
Jocelyn has a site like that she goes to.
Yep. And so does Amanda Digger DeGaz, who does All Metal Mode podcast on Spreaker.com on Monday nights. And she took Gypsy to one, and they had a blast. They're still cleaning buttons from that button hunt. So
do you have any of your favorite buttons you could show us around?
Yeah. I dug this one in Connecticut a couple years ago, and it is a railroad button. This is going to show real good. But it says New York, New Haven, and Hartford. And it was a railroad that was only around a certain amount of time. And then on the back side, it says, where is it? Let me turn it so I can read it. Scoville Manufacturing, Waterbury, Connecticut.
Oh.
And it's still got the shank on the bottom. And I went on a collaboration hunt with about 10, 12 other channels. It was put on by Emmy Lyman, Mike, and Ricky, Wildman's Lodge. And Mike wanted that button so bad. He even offered to trade me a silver love token. I said, nope, I love buttons. Sorry, Mikey. I love buttons. The oldest artifact that I found in the Ortonville area is one of the first early settler sites. I found a button that was only made in New York, where he moved from. between 1829 and 1833 or something like that, because these two men names that are on the button, they were only in business with each other for like a 4 or 5 year period. And that's the oldest artifact I found in that particular township.
Hmm.
And that, so that was pretty cool.
When you find a button,
Mhm.
is it kind of like a coin where if you clean it off, people aren't gonna value it the same way, or can you really clean up a button and collectors not give you a hard time about it?
You can really clean up a button good. If there's gold gilt there, but you have to be careful how you clean it. I don't think that, depending on the type of button and depending on where you dug it, will depend on the condition. It'll dictate the condition. So a lot of farm fields, they use a lot of fertilizers. It's really hard on coins. It's really hard on
Oh man.
relics.
Yeah.
So, people complain, oh, you shouldn't have cleaned that. Well, a lot of coins, you don't know what they are until you do.
Right? What are you supposed to do?
So they're not going to be valuable
Yeah.
if you can't even discern what it is.
Yep.
So I think some people go overboard on that. It's
I
not
do.
like,
I know. I think it's
it's
ridiculous.
not like you went to a garage sale and bought somebody's coin collection.
Yes.
You dug this out of the ground. It's not going to ever be in mint condition.
I finally just got to the point where I say, well, I don't care. It's going to mean a lot to me, and I want to know what it is. Like, I
Right.
want to know what this
Exactly.
was. So, curiosity gets the best of me on that one. And then,
Number one rule, don't use CLR. It just turns everything pink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no matter what, it's always going to be a dug coin.
yes,
Always.
Clean or not, it's gonna be a dug coin.
so many
Right.
people are like, don't rub it off. Don't rub it off. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do what I want. With this coin, I'm going to do what I want. Gosh darn it.
Yeah. Well, the only silver dollar I ever found, I dug with Rich, who passed away, and the owner wanted it, so I gave it to him. It was a pure, 90%, I forget. And he thought it was going to be valuable, but it been hit by the plow and everything else. We went back to dig a second time, maybe a week or so later, and he gave it back to me. He goes, "This isn't worth nothing." I said, "Well, no, it's not a mint coin."
Yep.
He tried to sell it on eBay and nobody wanted it.
No, it's worth the value of the silver that it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So I got it back,
Oh,
So
that's worth silver. So
Yeah, which is
Yep.
still more than what the coin was worth when it was made. So there's still
Exactly.
value to it. And then
exactly.
the actual treasure is finding it. The actual treasure is the hunt and discovering it,
Right.
and learning about it. So
And
it-
a
it
lot of
wasn't-
people think that metal detectorists are out to get rich, and they don't understand that's
So
not
weird.
going to happen.
yeah.
You would have to metal detect every waking hour of your life to make any money at it.
hmm And then even then that might not work out.
Right.
Yeah.
You might be able to pay for your machine, but you couldn't
Right.
live off of it.
Right. Yeah.
So
You're going to need a stick.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
right.
So Deej, earlier today you had a live stream. I only got to catch the very tail end of it. I was really bummed. I was still at work. But
Mhm.
your live stream, you touched down on a pretty, well, it's just hitting my heart right now, because we've dealt with a little bit of it lately, but online trolling or bullying, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
And I was hoping you could recap a little bit what you were talking about, because I was so bummed I missed that live.
Yeah.
You said there's been some people in the community lately dealing with it, and I think maybe you
Yep.
gave a little advice. You said that you had to report it, and I didn't know that you could
need
report
to
it.
report it.
Yeah. So you tell YouTube about it, or?
Yes. Yes. You can file a report with YouTube and turn somebody in.
Huh, I had no idea.
Yeah. And you can do you can even do it anonymously. All you got to do is Google how to anonymously report somebody on YouTube, and it pops right up.
Yep.
And then, a lot of people that do YouTube, they don't really take the time to read the rules and
Oh, true.
the possible consequences for breaking the rules. And that, and I've just been noticing the last few months, and it's getting worse and worse. There's more and more and more bullying, harassment, brand shaming,
Trolling.
all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
trolling
Yeah.
and that.
You know,
So,
we interviewed a gentleman. I hate the fact that I can't remember him because it was such a great interview. He did a lot of work for veterans, Jess, and down in Australia, and his dog had been poisoned.
Yep.
Chris Bogus.
Thank you.
Right.
And he gave us a great piece of advice, and it's what the treasure victims currently practice. And we pin the negative comment up top, and we allow our viewers to deal with it.
Right.
And typically, the negative commenters end up regretting it quite a bit because of when the community comes together, they come together. And they're not joking around, and they can still do it tactfully, even if the comment is very ruthless or disgusting. Most people are able to say, like, "Hey, get that hate out of your heart."
Sometimes, I had a situation where I made a comment that the township one of the townships I detect in, if I used a big shovel in a park, they would have a stroke. Okay, that's all I said, and it got blown up into this big thing, and I felt bad because then people thought they had to take sides. And what I should have done was just delete my comment, and then it would have dropped.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that, but I've learned from it.
Yeah.
So sometimes you may not intend. You know, I've given people compliments and they've taken it the wrong way.
For sure.
You got to think about what you're putting, because we live in an instant society now.
Yep.
You put it in there, it's in there for life.
Forever.
You know, unless you decide to retract your comment.
No, it's still there.
So you got to think
and
about
somebody probably
what
already
you're
got a
saying,
screenshot of it
and
before you did.
can it be taken more than one way?
Yeah.
Because sure as you know what, somebody will take it the wrong way.
And I think, I think something good to point out as we're talking amongst friends, you're probably going to agree with us, but say you're watching something you don't like, or somebody bugs you particularly, or you don't like
All you
them,
got to do is switch.
just keep
Turn
it to
it
yourself.
off.
Yeah, change the channel, do something
Turn it off.
different, you know?
Change
Right.
the channel you're watching. That's
Yeah,
it.
there's just no need. You don't even bother. Don't waste the time. Don't waste your energy. Don't waste the time hating, and go find something you love.
Yeah, but a lot of times,
Ray
trolls.
Rustoff says thin-skinned people suck. Well, if you're watching their channel, you've got a good idea whether they have a thick or thin skin. So
Yeah.
be respectful.
Yeah.
You know?
And Ed, I think you were going to talk about how trolls are doing it because they crave the attention, which is
they do.
Trolls are
So,
trolls, and
the best thing to do is ignore them.
misery likes company.
Because when they don't get a rise out of you, it'll get old hat.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Fight back the more they like it.
And there's that magic block.
Right. Well,
yes.
Well, they can still see you. They just can't comment.
Well, they could comment all they want.
I only use that if somebody's vulgar. Like I had this guy. Okay, this is the scary part. Women YouTubers, we worry about this more.
You have to.
Because we have to deal with it more than guys do. Okay, it's just a fact.
Yeah.
All right. I had this guy that kept coming on my lives after the fact to watch the replay. And then he would make a comment about my breasts showing through my shirt and things like that. I let it slide the first time, and then it got uglier and uglier. Okay, I blocked him. I have never told anybody where I worked. Okay.
Oh no.
This guy drove 4.5 hours to my work and showed up. And my boss goes, somebody's asking for Deej. Well, Deej isn't my real name. Deej is my nickname. Only my family and closest friends call me Deej. Okay. you know, people I work with call me by my regular name. He goes, somebody's asking for Deej. And I go, that's got to be somebody from YouTube because it's not anybody I know. It's not my family. So I'm in my boss's office and I'm looking through the double pane glass, you know, the two-sided window. I said, I don't know who that guy is. He says, well, I said, well, let me go see what this is about, but I want you right next to me. So I had both my bosses, one on each side of me, and I walk out. I'm behind the counter. I said, can I help you? I said, I don't know you. Oh, no, but I know you. You're digging with Deej on YouTube. And I'm going, I'm sorry. You know, you can make comments to me and I can answer your questions without you showing up at my work. I said, this is not good. I said, you know, I work here. I'm working. Why would you show? I wanted to meet you. Well, you need to email me and try to set something up that way, not show up at my work. I said, I'm working now. I can't meet you, you know. Well, I'll sit in the parking lot and wait for you.
Oh,
Huh.
I said, no, you won't. I said, you know, my boss goes, dude, the police consider this stalking. Don't you realize what you're doing? And then he started to get ugly about it and went out in the parking lot and sat in his car. And my boss called the cops.
thank goodness.
They escorted him to the county line and said, if we ever see you near her work again or near this town, you're done.
Mm.
Do not come back. What you did was stalking. You could be put in jail for that. So I have to be careful. I'm lucky I have a police officer that lives across the street from me. So that's cool.
Isn't that crazy?
But and I'm sure the guy didn't mean to be, didn't realize what he was doing. And I tried to be nice, but then he started getting ugly about it. Then that scared me.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
So, you know, some people have a problem because I don't want to go by my real name, and that's why.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, that's your prerogative.
right.
That's right. Yeah, it's a you know, I chose to go full name, but Angela on the regular says my name is Angela No Name, and that's what she keeps it as, you know.
Right.
And I totally respect it because
Right.
you know, you said this is terrifying. This is the scary stuff, and maybe that's something we should talk about more often. But Angela in particular has gotten some unnerving comments before, like some stuff that it's the beginning of a Lifetime movie. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Where the red
Yeah.
flag shoot up and you're like, is this even a good idea? Should I even be on YouTube right now?
Outdoorsy Gallo, Chrissy, Outdoorsy Gallo.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I told her how to report it. I said, you got to report that. I mean, disgusting stuff.
Yep.
It was like, oh my God.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Lauren.
Oh no,
creeps
Thomas
will
is
go
depressed.
beyond-
My real name isn't Deej. It's my nickname. It's been my nickname for almost 10 years now. So
Lauren, if someone's creepy enough and wants to know, there's ways to find out.
Oh yeah, there's still ways.
It's pretty easy. It really is.
Yeah.
It's scary easy.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Especially
how easy
if they're tech savvy. It's super scary.
Yep.
Right. Yep.
Well, I do have to give Angela credit because Angela has no social media. She does not do it. She hasn't done it. She won't do it. And I guess I give Dano a little bit of credit too.
Right.
He doesn't like the social medias, but she's done an incredible job. And I've tried to do some, I've done Google searches. I've Google searched myself. I've Google searched my friends to show them what I can find. And just typing into Google that person's name, it's alarming what you can find. Alarming.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep. Every time you agree to a policy on a new app, every time you read the terms and conditions and you agree, you're giving away all of those permissions. You're giving away all of that information.
Yep,
it goes
for sure.
Everywhere. It goes everywhere. Yeah. Piece of cake.
Yep. I agree.
Nothing's ever really deleted.
No, it's not. And you have to pay dearly to have it go away.
Yeah, you're right. You can get scrubbers, but it's a you have
Not
to
cheap.
you have to sell a limb or a organ to
Yeah.
pay for it.
Right. It's my dog barking.
Hear my background.
Did you read it too, Jesse? Heavy Meadow Detective. Thomas just canceled his trip to surprise Deej at work.
Yeah, but I would know who you were. I'm retired now, so you can't find me at work now. I'm retired.
He was in the military. He'll find you.
Oh, I'm sure. That's how, if he's in the military, he'll find my half brother too, who's a lifer with the Air Force. So
No one's that hard to find if someone's really looking for you.
Really tried. Yep, you could do
yep.
Even if you're not on social media.
it. Right. There's more ways.
You've been being tracked ever since you acquired a social security number.
Yeah, that's right. And then just cell phones in general. Just
Yeah.
cell phones, period. Even before you download apps, cell phones are
Right.
They're the chip. They're the chip
Yeah.
that got inserted into everybody.
But I will say I'm glad that cell phones can track you for one thing.
I feel safety
Because let me give you for instance, okay? Every time I go treasure hunting or do anything outside, I let Jackson know exactly where I'm going to be. I write it down, okay? Because there's a lot of dead spots by me, okay? But Me Miner in Canada, which I'm sure you guys have heard of him, he went to plant some apple trees on one of his pieces of property, okay? Had his cell phone with him, didn't have it on his person, had it in the truck. He decided this pine tree needed to come down. He cut the tree down, it kicked back and hit him.
Ooh.
And landed on top of him.
Ooh.
Punctured lung, broken ribs, compressed spine and fractured some vertebrae. Broken leg inside the boot, so compound fracture. All of a sudden, his daughter and his wife are starting to get worried because he's not home yet. He didn't tell anybody where he was going. It took him 3 hours to crawl to his truck, 200 yards or 50 yards, whatever it was. Get his cell phone out of his truck and call somebody. His daughter gets there and he's laying on the ground next to the truck. It was a nice warm day. He didn't bring a hoodie with him, but by then it was night. It was starting to get cold. His dog, Daisy, she was soaking wet from being in the lake, and they had to airlift him to emergency, and he's still recovering. So some things of technology are good. It's just unfortunate that big business chooses to use it the way they do.
Technology is good most of the time. It's just bad people using it.
For the wrong things.
It's that double-edged sword.
Yep.
Very true.
Yep.
For sure.
So I don't care where you're going, treasure hunting, to the store, whatever, tell somebody where you're going. Because we've seen with Adventures with Purpose, people disappear on their way to do normal everyday things.
Yep. And then don't get found for years, even though
don't get found for years, and then the family suffers.
Yeah, 1 mile off of the path, they finally find him 15 years later.
Yeah.
So crazy.
So. Yeah.
Well, that was a really depressing talk.
Oh my.
Well, might be depressing.
Well, hopefully
to a degree,
I'll help
but,
somebody keep that from happening to them.
That's right.
It might be depressing, yes, but
it's reality.
It's reality, and it could be a very important topic.
Right.
So
that's right.
Many times, uncomfortable topics are not discussed as much as they should be.
That's right.
Oh, you're right, Deej. Yeah. And they do need to be talked about a lot. And unfortunately, they get swept under the rug a lot.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Night,
it ain't-
Nancy. Thank you.
Good night, Nancy.
Nighty night.
I
Nah,
She's been going since your life, huh?
Remember, if you want to
Yeah.
get in on that book, type in the chat #book.
Very
Oh yeah,
cool.
I haven't seen a lot of that,
Brian.
guys.
Brought
That's
to
the
us compliments of Watts, Worldwide Association of Treasure Seekers.
Mm-hmm.
You noobs out there, and if you guys just starting to figure it out, any education helps.
it's a
Yep.
good book, too. A
We
lot of
can't all
information.
have a ToledoJess.
It doesn't matter what it is I'm trying to do. If I don't know how to do it, I look it up on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way.
Can learn
That only
about
takes-
anything on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, but that only takes you so far. You have to get out and do it still.
Right.
Right.
Whenever I
Well,
want to learn something new, I ask the guys that flash in your pan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That could
Good
get
idea.
you in trouble, Rose.
Be sure you're sure of the question you're asking.
That's right. I've gotten better. I think I learned to tiptoe around and make sure I'm watching what I say.
Make sure it's worded correctly because the mind can go to the gutter directly.
And then never let Jess touch your pan when you're learning how to pan. Never let Jess touch it.
Why?
Don't do it.
Why? What's he do?
He'll shake it all back to the bottom and make you start over.
Oh my. Well, he kept telling me, "Oh no, not yet, not yet. You
He
haven't
says,
taken enough
"Practice,
black
practice,
sand out.
practice."
No peeking."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone gets anxious, Deej, and they want
Yeah.
to see that flash in your pan.
Oh yeah.
But I tell Jesse all the time, you have way too much black sand. Get more out before you fan it.
Right. Now I have a question. If you
That's why I like
up
to
in
go
Michigan, I don't have much bedrock. I have,
Right.
but I have a lot of sand in my creeks. Can I still pan that?
Well, sure.
But I may not
but
find anything.
You can think about false bedrocks too. Clay layers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or on the beaches by the lakes, look at the sand. If you see like the black streaks in the sand,
Yep.
take that.
Prospect those.
That's what I want to do because there's a couple of lakes I have seen sections of the beach that are all black sand.
Yeah, you'll
Like-
get lenses of black sands in the beach sand and
Mhm.
hit those lenses.
Gold. Lake Superior,
Oh yeah.
that has a lot of black sand and gold. In fact, that's where Mike Punk developed his black box.
The gold
Oh, wow.
cube. Yeah.
I bet you he was by the Two-Hearted River too.
Don't know.
I know
Two-Hearted
it's
River
up on
is-
the UP.
About 4 miles as the crow flies from my cabin. So
A crow flies like this, right?
well, in other words, if you were flying from my cabin to the North Shore of, the UP, it would
Yeah.
only be 4 miles. But if you drive, it takes you 45 minutes to an hour to get there because the roads are all, they're not straight, not the back roads. And they're only maintained during the summer.
It was snow in the winter, huh?
Yeah, there's snow in the winter and they're used as snowmobile trails in the winter,
Yeah.
all the roads. So, yep.
Thanks, Jim, the crow. Jim, Jesse's new dance move, the crow. Funny, Jim.
Yeah, our friend Jim from Video Call-In Show. It's good to see you back in our live chat, Jim.
Oh, thanks, Jim. I'm sorry I missed you at Flash Bash. I didn't even know you were there.
Well, it sounds like he'll be at the next one, Deej.
Yep.
So if
Well, that'll be cool because I want to go back to the next one too.
Yeah, we don't know where it's going to be yet. We
Not
haven't.
yet.
Not yet. It's always nice to go to a new space, a new spot every year.
Mm-hmm. How many claims are there with your group in Ohio?
We don't have any claims.
Oh, you don't have any?
No,
No.
there's no such thing as a claim east of the Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
Even though a lot of people in the community like to call the leases a claim, and
Uh-huh.
I can understand why. Technically, it's a lease.
Right.
So leases or permissions, and OSPA has the Double D where
Mhm.
Flash Bash was held this year.
Right.
The Norris where Flash Bash was held last year.
Okay.
They have a small place which is good for a day visit, um, called the Scenic View. Don't they have one or two others also? The Wilson,
The Wilson,
which is not far, about 30 minutes from the Double D.
the new
Okay.
one, is what, Sandyville or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Sandyville.
The
Mm-hmm.
new one.
It's still
So
being developed though.
there's
Right.
that handful. The GPAA, the Gold Prospectors Association of America, they have 4 leases, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
in Ohio.
What?
But we work quite a bit with the OSPA. It's a
Uh-huh.
little easier going through that organization than something like the
A national organization.
GPAA, which is a
Right.
national club, nationwide, sort of like Good Sam's or something.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're looking at some places in Indiana also. Um, just need
Now,
to talk
isn't
to 'em.
Indiana where Thomas is from? I forget what state he's
Yes,
from.
Thomas is from Indiana.
Right.
uh, Ellsworth, it was a pleasure meeting the Carl family. The girls were awesome.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
It was hard not to have an ear-to-ear grin getting bear hugs from them.
Played this game. I don't know if I talked about it or not, where they'd go like this, and then they'd choose which one was crazy, Rose or Angela, Rose or Angela. Like, crazy, and then we tell them, no, you're crazy. And it was just too much fun. It was a lot of fun.
Wow.
So who won?
We are all crazy, Jess.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think the general consensus was birds of
Yeah.
a feather flock.
Everyone there's a little
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we all are to some extent.
Gotta be a little bit.
We all have our moments, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You have to be crazy to do the stuff we do.
I know as a kid, even just digging in the dump, people looked at me like, is she all right?
Girl
No.
getting dirty.
Yeah,
I
but
I was a
look at all the
tomboy though. I was a tomboy.
look at all the cool stuff you found.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Treasures. And speaking of treasures, you know how our community is here and their lust for treasure porn.
Treasure porn, yeah.
I'm sure you have some of your favorite treasure porn that you would love to share
I don't
with
think
us.
I have. Oh, I've got some coins, but
Well,
not very many down here. Most of them are put away. Well, here we go.
But we love bottles and
Silver and
jewelry.
turquoise.
Ooh.
Polo.
Beautiful. What is that?
Silver and
polo?
turquoise. It's a neckerchief polo.
Oh, wow.
Found that in Florida.
And that was a dig?
Yeah, that was a dig. Metal detecting.
Luke Duke is like
Um,
bottle porn. Bottle porn.
Oh, cool.
Found this in the middle of a cellar hole.
That's creepy.
It's a trapper's key.
Oh, yeah.
So that's 1850-ish. This is my most favorite suspender clasp.
Huh.
Good condition. That's in great condition.
Yeah, and it's got scroll work and stuff on it. It's beautiful.
Nice patina on it too.
Yeah.
Now, are those old clay pipes I see there too? Did you find those?
Those came from my family's dump, my great-great-grandfather's dump.
Oh man, look at those.
Yeah, there's all different kinds. This one's got those nubbies on it. This one has got water buffalo antlers on it. This one's got a heart on it.
Oh, those sweet.
So, oh yeah. Those are my 3-hole ones that I have. I have a lot of broken ones because they were like disposable, like cigarette butts are, you know. This is the only gold I've ever dug. This was my first gold ring. It's tiny. That's my baby finger, and that's as far as it'll go. So plain band, that's 14 karat.
You'll get
this,
more.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to. This camera is not the greatest. It's a sapphire and diamond, what I call a dinner ring, but what now is a going steady ring in the year 2020, 2021. But it's sapphire and diamonds. It's 10 karat gold. I found this. I had this cockamamie idea. I was trying to get creative, finding places to metal detect on public land. And it occurred to me, you know, here we live in Michigan, we get snow. And I remember seeing them, the plows, push the snow to the creek. And they push it off the road onto the ground next to the creek and let it melt and go into the creek. So I detected where those piles used to be. You know, later on in the spring, they were gone. And I dug that out of the muck.
Nice.
So that's the gold that I found.
Ohio Relic Hunter asked if perhaps you knew what the heart signified on the side of that pipe.
Read
They were just designs. The only carving that is signified that signifies anything is this one.
You see when you turn around and answered, didn't you?
It's the Royal Antediluvian. It's some group over in England, because my family comes from England. The Order of the Royal Antediluvians, or something like that, and it's their logo, which they didn't call it back then, is water buffalo horns. So darn it!
Kind of like
there we go.
Trademark.
That's their trademark. So, and then you will see the maker of the pipe maker is always on the side. And that, but they're clay pipes. I mean, you can see it was well burned inside there. Mm-hmm. They were much longer than this. These are broken. Of course, that's why they were in the dump. They would have been about that long. Some of them even longer. I think the Scots had longer ones than the English, but don't quote me on it. But I got that. Let's see. Bottles I've dug.
Yeah,
I love the mason jars. I collect the mason jars. I dug this in my Victorian dump permission. It's called Scott's Emulsion Cod Liver Oil. Yeah. And it has a guy embossed on it with a fish on his back.
Yeah, you can just barely see it, but you can see the silhouette. Yeah.
So, and this is like early 1900s here. It's got like a 3-point, it had like a 3-point screw cap, but I've actually found cork tops or press tops before with this. Let's see. This is a master ink. It's ceramic. It's got a spout on it. Right there. Got a pouring spout. Teachers would use this to fill the kids' ink wells. And that. And it says on the bottom of it, it's stamped right into the ironstone. Carter's ink. That's my best ink that I've got.
I've never seen anything like it.
That's a nice find.
Trying to think, what's this one? Okay, this is a Scott's Emulsion without the man with the fish. And it's that press top lid that would just, there'd be a cork in there and there'd be a top that would press over it. There's that one.
Same dig site? Did somebody just love their cod oil?
Yeah, well, cod liver oil cured what ailed you back then.
Everybody used it. Everybody used it. It's the aspirin of that day.
Wowzers.
This is one of the first it's like 1920s bottles, but it's Dr. Kilmer's swamp root. Who the heck would eat something or take some medicine called swamp root? Quack medicine was a big thing back then.
They're trying to cure baldness, you know.
Snake oil salesman.
Right. Let's see. Somewhere I have a beer that I dug that's not all there. I'm trying to. I don't know where it went.
Or a beer.
I'm not sure where it went, but I got part of it. Let's see where it moved to. I don't know. Can you guys probably can't see that. Let me try to turn this. This is a reproduction apothecary jar that I have filled with broken cork top bottle necks. They're all different colors, and I use that. I filled it to save them. So, but those are some of my finds.
Getting a lot of love for those bottles, Deej.
Yeah, well, I want to find some really old ones. I need to get to New England and dig some really old ones. So.
I just saw Nightbot announce something.
Huh? Pardon me?
Nightbot just announced.
Oh, yeah?
Is Lauren O'Reilly.
Oh, congratulations, Lauren. She's been in my live streams. Congratulations.
She's been very active in chat tonight. She's been showing a lot of love.
Cool.
So she won a book.
Great. Super.
Am I right or wrong, Ed?
I haven't heard her right.
Okay.
Now, this is something that I found at my 1880 permission. It rang up really high. It's really light. It's like aluminum, but not aluminum. I don't know how to describe it. But this is why you need to double check your junk. Because this would have gone around the bulb of a lightning rod, the glass ball on a lightning rod, and it would have held it in place.
Gotcha.
And lightning rods were only good until they got struck by lightning, and then you had to replace them. And I found this in the dump. And it's got a patent date on it of 1893 or 1893 on it. But you couldn't tell that until you clean it up once I got home, and I scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed on it and finally could read it.
Cool.
You never know. You got to double check your junk or what you think is your junk.
It's like your pocket change.
Yeah.
I save it, go through it all, take out my coppers, take out my Wheaties or whatever, and
yeah.
Then the real stinking Lincolns and the rest of the clad. Unless
Well, I spend my winters researching, trying to figure out where I want to door knock the next spring. And there is so much available online. There really is. And if you check with your local librarian, they probably have a lot of that information available to you. So I think that a lot of people don't go to that trouble because they're not comfortable door knocking.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you had good success with it.
Yeah, I have.
Now,
But
speaking
you
of
just
research,
got to be yourself, and you got to show your passion for saving history.
yeah,
And once they see that, and tell them some of the relics that you found. But my suggestion is when you door knock, tell them you're a relic hunter. Don't tell them you're a coin shooter, because that's the misconception everybody has about metal detectors. They think they're trying to get rich. So,
yeah,
I
sounds like
get
the
no's
same
from
with
time to time
prospecting.
too, but everybody does. But that's the worst they can say is no.
That's right.
Luke Duke wants to know if you have any marbles.
I don't have my best ones down here, but yeah, I do have some. There's a red and white one. There's a red and white one. Here's a tinted green one full of air bubbles. Most of them are upstairs.
Jason Keith had a big old box of them.
There's a World War II 13-star button.
Wowzers.
What else have I got?
Deej, Willie wants to know if you've ever found the bulb to the lightning rod before.
The bulb? No, it would have been busted because they would have no reason to throw it in the dump. Once the bulb is broken, because they were hand blown, if you can't find another bulb that will fit, the screw thing that I found, you just have to buy a whole new lightning rod. And a lot of times after lightning hit that rod, it bent it all out of shape.
Oh, you're talking a lightning rod?
A lightning rod that went on top of the house or the barn.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, I'm there now. I'm there.
Okay. So.
Speaking of research, a lot of us live in areas where the weather's pretty miserable during the winter.
Mm-hmm.
What's your research routine? What tools do you use for?
I get a lot of old maps online. What's the name of the site? Oh, shoot. Now I'm drawing a blank.
Oldmaps.com?
No, I don't use the paying ones unless the ones on my site that I normally use are available, but it's Library of Congress.
Okay.
Library of Congress has tons of maps.
Pretty much everything you need there.
It's ever been written.
Right. But if you're in an area, you may only be able to get the fire maps, which told where the buildings were, and they're like early 1900s. It just depends on how old your area is. Like New England, there's a lot more available in New England than there is in Michigan. I can get maps back. The earliest map I can get back for my area, the Library of Congress doesn't even have. And it's at one of the historical societies that I'm a member of in Holly. And they have this giant map on the wall. It's an 1850 map. The only other place you can find that map is in the Lansing State Library. So you've got that. There are big free sites for Canadian maps as well. There are historical collections that are available online for free to look through. So you just have to research and, punch in what you're looking for. And what I always do is when I'm looking for maps, I put a year like 1870, 1874, even numbers, because many of them were printed in 1872, 1874, at least in Michigan. Some state maps are 1851. You know, they follow the census. The state will do a state census, 1851, but the federal census is 1850. You can find out a lot about your properties. Find the name on the map. Go to your local library. Many of the local libraries have library edition ancestry.com. Punch your name in exactly as it's seen on the map, and you can bring up information about that family. Lots of the later 1800s and early 1900s will give information if they were veterans. You know, so you'll know, hey, I might find Civil War buttons or whatever. It'll give you an idea. You know, they were a watchmaker. You might find watch parts. So for me, the research is just as, that's the only thing that keep me from going bonkers in the wintertime. Research, and try to plan out who I'm going to door knock in the spring or who I'm going to try to contact. Some people like to try to contact by email. I like to do it face to face.
It's like
because I think they can pretty much tell that I'm a Miss Goody Two Shoes. Like I'm not going to cause any trouble or anything. I do carry liability waivers in my glove box in my car because some people are very afraid of being sued.
Right.
I've only had to do that. I've only had to sign one of those once for them. So
kind
to
of
get a permission.
Sue happy country we're in now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a lot of good information is found in state gazetteers. And Google Books has a ton of them online. So check your state's gazetteers for a particular year you're looking for. It'll tell you, you know, say you find a property, you want to know what it was, you know, it used to be a business. The building has been turned into like somebody's home now.
Apartment.
You can research what that business used to be. And the state gazetteer will have everybody that lived in that town, and it'll tell you what their occupation was. So a lot of this I learned because my great aunt was the family historian in my mom's family. And when I turned 21, she turned the job over to me. And I started researching my mother's side and that. And my mother's family goes back to England, goes back to Northumberland. The name of the town is Allendale, Northumberland, England. And someday I want to go there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever get that chance, but I'm hoping I will.
Mr. Lodak has a question for you.
Okay.
He wants to know if you've ever used LiDAR to find old cellar holes.
No, I haven't, but I do know that there are sites that'll do that because most of my cellar holes, I don't know about other states, but in Michigan, everywhere you have a hunter pull in for hunters to pull in and park along a road, I can guarantee you 90% of the time, that's an old home site. If the cellar hole was close to where they park, they would fill them in. If it's out in the boonies on that property, they may not be filled in. But you need to check with your state where you're allowed to dig, because there's a lot of state land that you can lose everything that don't allow metal detecting on some parts of state land. But I have buku cellar holes around me, but 95% of it is on state land that I am not allowed to detect.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Nikki's our friend from Eastern Australia.
Okay.
She wants to know, what's a cellar hole?
Okay, a cellar hole, because we're in Michigan, and we have winters with snow, people would dig holes in the earth to make a basement, and they would stack rock for walls up to maybe 4 feet above the ground. And then they would put their main beams to build their house on top of that. Some built vegetable, what do you call those?
Root cellar.
Root cellars. Root cellars to store their apples through the winter, carrots through the winter, potatoes through the winter, that would stay, if it was deep enough, deep earth below the frost line will maintain 50 some degrees. It'll keep stuff cool. Now we have quite a few cellar holes in Michigan, not as many as New England. We have some rock walls, but nothing like New England. It's usually the people that did the rock walls to show where their land border was came from New England. We don't have the abundance of rocks in Michigan, not as much as New England does. But it was something free that's there, and they utilized it to make their basements.
Cool.
All right, guys, quick.
Okay, Willie said something like sounds almost like part of a sod home. We have a lot of Dutch in Michigan, and they didn't do it so much with their homes, but they did it with their barns, where they would have stone walls, but it was built into a hillside. So the back part of the barn would be up against the hillside and into it. And their cattle and, animals that they raised would go underneath the barn to get out of the elements. But the Dutch are very famous for building into a hill. But I haven't seen it done too much, not in Michigan, with homes, mainly with just barns.
Wow. We all do our research, prospecting, bridges, magnet fishing, metal detecting.
Mm-hmm.
We all do our research, and there's no better time
Then the
than
winter.
the winter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Deej, we're at about our show time. We try and keep it under 2 hour or at 2 hours.
Okay, that sounds
And
good.
Fast, yeah.
I'm getting hungry.
I bet
Or
you've had a
hangry.
busy night tonight. Your
Yeah, I did.
show.
I haven't had dinner yet.
And for those of you who don't know Deej, she's a great person, a detectorist, and I hope she got a little bit of the gold bug.
Oh, I did.
So, if you're not yet subscribed to her or seen her, check her out. Her link's in the description below. She does all kinds of cool stuff. She has a great live stream every Tuesday starting at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, followed by our friends Audra and Rach, the Jersey History Hunters, at 7, I believe. And then we top it off at 8 o'clock with Tuesday Night Hangout Live. Next week, we're having one of the crew of Adventures with Purpose, my friend, Sam the Adventure Man. That's going to be a really good show. I know it. Sam's a great guy. Angela's had the privilege of meeting Sam. I've been able I hang out with him twice now. Great guy. I'm looking forward to the show.
Yeah.
What's on your agenda for next week's show, Deej?
I haven't decided yet.
Oh,
I'm been so wrapped up with Tanner Banana since I
okay.
got back from Flash Bash. She's not doing well.
Well,
But I will come up with something.
I'm sure you will. All of you out there, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Greatly
Thank you very much for
appreciate
having
it.
me, Ed.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I've been wanting you on for a while. I'm glad you're here with us tonight.
Yeah.
I want to thank all the super chatters. Unfortunately, my studio is not showing them, so I can't name them all.
What's your show called, Deej?
What's my sorry.
Thomas wants to know.
Excuse me. I am down in the basement and I've got my dehumidifier on, but suddenly it's not working. It's just treasure hunting live stream.
There you go, Thomas.
So excuse me.
Nice so you can get out of the
I'm
basement.
allergic to mold and my basement has enough of it. So
thank you, John. Hippie, welcome. Better late than never, but you can always catch the replay here in a little while, and make sure to leave a comment if you do. Also, if you want to listen to it while you're working, we're on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and a few others.
Everywhere the cool kids are.
Pardon?
I said everywhere the cool kids are.
Try to be. All of you, thank you very much for joining us. I love the Flash fam, love all of you. And yes, we're working on next year's Flash Bash already. One. But I hope to see you all next week. Until then, may you always have a flash in your pan.
You know what he's going to say next.
That's right, Jesse, because ask Deej, ask Rose, Heavy Meadow. Hey, you guys, it does happen. Maybe one day, too, we'll meet you on the river. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Congratulations, winners. Make sure you email me your shipping address. I'll get those out. Good night, everybody. God bless. Love you all.
Night, folks.
Bye. Thanks for coming.
Hi, James.
Night, Dano.
Not Jesse. Not Deej.
Good night. Jason. Good night, Terry. Nikki. Kim. Marcus. Thanks for joining us.
5, 4, 3,
2, 1.